Okay.
Can you tell us your name and what year you were born?
My name is Joyce Grable St. John. I was born August 5th, 1955.
Did your parents tell you anything about the day that you were born?
Yes, my mom said the day I was born was probably the hottest day that whole summer.
Why were you given the first and middle names that you have?
I don't know where my middle name came from, but my first name, my mom said they were trying to decide between Nancy and Joyce. And when I was born, they thought I looked more like a Joyce than a Nancy, so.
What's your first most vivid memory?
My first vivid memory. One of the earliest memories I recall when my sister was born, and she was 2.5 years younger than me. She was born in February, and our neighbor lady was across the road getting her mail and was asking my mom. I was with my mom getting our mail, and my older sister wanted to bring the baby out for our neighbor lady to see because she was asking about the baby. And she brings her out on the porch and almost dropped her, and she wasn't dressed to come outside in February.
Can you tell me about your parents? What year were they born?
My father was born November 7th, 1930, and my mom was born in July 17, 1931.
Do you ever have a secret hiding place?
My secret hiding place as a child? Yes, my favorite place was up in a big maple tree. I love to read, and with a big family of 12, it was hard to find a place to get away to read, and I found that I could take a book up in this tree and sit up there and nobody would know where I was. And even sometimes my younger siblings would be playing under the tree and did not know I was up in my hideaway.
Describe the first president of the United States that you remember.
The first president I remember of, I would have been, it was the year I turned 5, was the presidential election, and Eisenhower was president, and John F. Kennedy was running against him. We did not have TV, but our neighbor lady did, and I was very interested in the news and who was going to be president. And I just thought he was the coolest man. And I was hoping so much he would become president because he was often photographed with his beautiful wife and 2 young children. And he seemed like a really good father. And I thought he'd make an awesome president. And I was very happy when he was elected.
What would you like your children and grandchildren to remember about you?
My children and grandchildren to remember about me. My stories. I love to tell stories. And my grandchildren are always asking for stories and asking if I brought my stories with me. They especially like stories about when their mother was young, and I've even had requests for the stories about when she got in trouble.
Do you remember anything about the Cold War?
The Cold War, don't remember how old I was, but I remember sometimes my parents getting together with my aunts and uncles, the adults talking about Russia and the communists, and I was so sure there was going to be a horrible war and that we were going to be overrun by communists. And Khrushchev was the leader of Russia at that time, and he sounded like a terrible guy. And I was so scared that they were going to come to our country and take over our country. As a child, it seemed like a huge threat.